Hey, what's happening? Today we're going to work on memorizing the major scale and connecting the positions more easily. Let's take a look. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at the G major scale. We're going to do something called 3-note per string patterns. There's going to be 7 different positions. The first one starts with your first finger on low E3 like this. And then we're going to go to the octave, which is on D5, with our first finger. The next pattern is going to start with your little finger on A10. That's also a G note. And then your second finger on A10. That's also a G note. And then your first finger on A10. That's also a G note. And then we're going to go to low E15, which is a G note. Your little finger, second finger on low E15, and then it repeats itself and starts over again. So that looks like this. Okay, so that's the first way to approach this, is memorizing where the positions actually begin. The second thing is there's going to be a couple different ways that we're going to be approaching these positions. In some of these strings, we're going to be playing 3 fingers on 5 frets like this. And in that case, it's going to be fingers 1, 2, and 4. This might feel a little awkward if you haven't done this before. I call it mega positioning, but we're going away from 4 frets into 5 frets. We're going to call these the bigs. There's another big. But on this string, we're only doing 4 frets. We're going to call that a little. There's a little one on this one. However, now when we shift to this note, it's a little one again, string grouping of 4 strings. However, the fingers are changing. Now it's fingers 1, 3, 4. And the same on this one. So there's bigs and there's littles. So keep that in mind. That's going to be consistent throughout this entire process. Here's the first position. So that's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So now the second position, we're going to start on this octave of the G note. And what we want to do here, just like with the pentatonic scales, or any scale for that matter, we start in the middle, and then we're going to go to what I call the south, as far as we can to the southern border, back as far as we can to the northern border, and then back to where we started from in the middle again. You don't want to start it on the low string. At that point, you'd be playing the different modes. That's for a different video. But if you started on the A note, you'd be playing a Dorian. We don't want to do that. Here's how the second position works. You'll notice I start in the middle. I go as far as I can to the south, and then back to the north again, and back to the middle. The next position is going to start with our little finger on this G note on the 10th fret of A. It looks like this. And then I'm going to start with my second finger on that same note, and I'm moving from first finger, starting points, fourth finger, and now second finger. This is our fourth position. Okay, and then the fifth position, which is probably the best one to begin to learn to improvise with. That's coming up a little later in the video. We're going to start with our first finger on this G note. So we have first finger here, here, fourth finger, second finger, first finger. I don't think there's been a day in the last, million years where I haven't played these scales. So this is going to become second nature for you in no time. Here we go with the next one. Okay, and then the next position is going to start with your little finger on the G note on the 15th fret of low E. You'll notice we've already traveled 1 octave on this string. So it's first finger, fourth, second, first, fourth finger here. Each time going as low as I can and back up to the starting point. And then the seventh position starts with your second finger on this G note on the 15th fret of low E, or you could do it down here on the 3rd fret. Let's go ahead and do that for the last one. We're just going to kind of transfer down to here. The idea being that the same thing you do up here, you can do down here, 12 frets lower, and it's the same exact thing. So you'll notice that there were bigs and littles for those stretches, 5 fret span or 4 fret span. The next thing we're going to do is to practice this with triplets and 16th notes. This is something you should do every single day. There's a myriad of possibilities of patterns that you can create, but the triplets and 16th notes are crucial for your development. Be sure to check out the sister video to this one on memorizing the 5 patterns of the minor pentatonic scale. This video is in the key of G, and that video is in the key of E minor, and they work together because they're relative keys. Make sure you take a look at that. So doing it in triplets looks like this. I'm going to go up 3 notes and then back 1. So I'm going like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, or you can think of it as up 3, back 1, up 3, back 1, up 3, back 1, up 3, back 1, up 3, or you can think of it as assigning a number to each one. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. Whichever way makes more sense to you is fine. Up 3, back 1. Starting on the next scale degree. Or assigning a number to each one. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. When you practice these with triplets, we have to make sure we're alternate picking. It's going to be down, up, down on one string, and then up, down, up on the other string, which makes it tricky. Sixteenth notes work the same, however, we're going to go up 4, back 2. So you can think of this either as going up 4, back 2, or you can think of it as starting on the next scale degree. Or you can assign a number to each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. It gets a little tricky when you get to this part up here. When the B string gets involved, it can get a little weird. So the trick is to get your hand back into its established position when you return to the G string. So for example, if I go like this, I'm going to land on that note with my little finger because that's where I was when I left the G string. This little tip will help with all of your modes. When you leave the G string to go to the B string, when you go back to the G string, reestablish the same fingers you used on the G string in the first place. If you're enjoying today's lesson on memorizing the major scale, Please hit that subscribe button and click the bell for notifications. And in the comment section down below, you'll find links for my websites and other guitar resources. Now let's take a look at learning this horizontally with each string. The first one goes like this. So you can do that on every string. I would recommend starting on the G note, working as far as you can to the west, as far as you can back to the east and back to the G note again. So for example, on the D string, if you started here, you might want to start there, go all the way up to the top, down to the bottom, when you get back to here. Go as far as you can back to the east again, and then go back to the note where you started from. That way you encompass the entire fretboard across the whole thing, starting on the root note. Now let's try two strings starting on the root note. And then keep doing that all the way up the guitar and back down again, just like we want to do the same thing from north to south. And keep doing that all the way up and back down the guitar again. You can do that with the A string and the D string and the G string, B string. Get all those string groupings together, then try three strings. That leads us to our next objective, which is to work on these one octave at a time. You can play this at first when you're practicing. If you're having trouble going all the way from the low E string to the high E string, just do one octave at a time at first. So let's say you're on the fourth position, and that's enough for you to memorize, and then you get kind of confused, right? So just do that one octave first. Make that your whole responsibility, and then start here. And you go, okay, now I'm going to combine those together. And then maybe I'll take a look at venturing beyond that down to the low E string. So you start with maybe the octave first, add a second octave to it, kind of add the notes that are surrounding it with the strings. You don't have to do this all in one giant chunk the whole way across the fretboard. You can do it in smaller chunks. I think the fifth position is the best one to start to jam with. It's the easiest one to play out of. So let's do some call and response here. Let's keep it really simple and try to create some phrases. Let's see what happens. Be sure to check out this lesson here for a deeper dive on how to start to improvise with the fifth position of the major scale. So you can do something simple like this, and then do a response. Very simple. So here's a phrase, and here's your answer to the phrase. Now I'm going to kind of go up to the top of the scale. Maybe around the horn, back down to this octave, so I can kind of improvise within the scale using the notes of this position. Now we're going to take a look at how to combine 5 and 6 together. This is our first juxtaposition of two positions. Let's take a look. So rather than try to play the entire scale pattern, in the 6th position, I'm going to play in the 5th position, and I'm going to connect using any string I want to. Let's start with the B string. So this looks like this in this position. And the 6th position is this. So I could do this. So I went from this position into that one. Now I don't have to slide. I can do it without sliding. I could have connected on the G string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to play through the scale pattern and see where the notes on the G string are in position 6. There they are, right there. So now if I'm in position 5, I'll do that slowly. I started on this note in position 5 into position 6. I slid back down to 5 on the high E string. It looks like this. So you can do that with any position and on any string at any given time. Now that you have positions 5 and 6 connecting, let's take a look at 5 and 4. So here's 5 again. Let's remind ourselves where 4 is. It starts with this finger. Okay, so I'm going to go into the G string. And I'm going to go into 5. So that's kind of cool. Now I can slide into it, or I can not slide into it. Okay, so here's 5 and 6. Here's 4 and 5. Probably the best way to do this is to do position 5 first, and then combine 5 and 6 together next, like we just did in the video, and then combine positions 5 and 4 going in this direction. Then do positions 6 and 1 going in this direction, and then do 4 and 3 together, and then do 1 and 2 together, and then do 3 and 2 together. And at that point, you've played all of the positions, connecting them to their adjacent positions, and you're learning how to improvise, working your way out from the middle, from this middle position of kind of thought right here in position 5. At this point, you can play across the entire fretboard freely. There's no longer one position and then the next position. It all becomes one giant position. You can go from north to south, or east to west, or northeast to southwest, wherever you want to go, and just fly across the fretboard. Everything's in muscle memory land, and you're just having a great time wailing on the major scales. All right, thank you so much for checking out the lesson. We'll see you next time.